concern. Please welcome Phil Wilson.
I've been at this conference for about 5, 6, 7 years now, and it's always one of my most fun conferences. It's extraordinary technology, and the product that I'm going to be talking about is the Relax Far Infrared Sauna. You can see it pictured over there, and there's a young man in the sauna right there in the picture. That's actually me, and it's an experience that I experienced 23 years ago. And I've been many, many saunas over the years, and I started doing saunas when I was about 16 years old, and I fell in love with them. And around 2001, I ran into, at a spa show, one of my massage tool suppliers. I'm in the health food industry since 1973. So I'm one of the original biohackers. I've always been interested in creativity. My background, I have an honors degree in mathematics and 4 years of graduate school in mathematics, studying the foundations of mathematics, creativity, philosophy, and psychology. So it's all about frequency. And Tesla, one of our heroes here, is one of the ones that said the medicine of the future is all about vibration and frequency. And so it turns out that I was introduced to the Relax Sauna company after I'd been using another sauna. And I've discovered this other sauna at the spa show, as I was just mentioning, and I couldn't believe you could have a sauna in your home. This is a great joy. I mean, I felt like a kid on Christmas morning when there is a sauna and you can actually have it in your home. And I've been using it for 23 years now, almost every morning for 20 minutes. And it puts a cup of coffee to shame. Way back when I got involved in, after I had an out-of-body experience in February 1970, my body chemistry started changing. And that's what happens when you plug into the present moment. Everyone in their own way, on their own particular frequency. We all find our way back into the heart of whoever we are, whatever we are, into the heart of creation, in the heart of God, in the heart of the divine. One of the most beautiful things about the Relax Far Infrared Sauna is that it gets you connected. It gets you connected. If you are coming by my booth at a conference, there are two main things I tell you. Number one, I say it feels like your grandma's giving you the most wonderful, loving hugs in the world, or you're covered by a warm blanket, or you're actually experiencing a step-down version of being in the divine. If that doesn't work, then I have to use another angle, and I say, in 5 to 7 minutes, guaranteed every time, 100% or at least 50% of the stress and the pain in your body will be gone with your clothes on absolutely every time without sweating. And the without sweating is the magic, because for some reason people do not like to sweat in public. I don't understand why, but it's just the way it is, and so I have to accept that. A lot of times there are so many booths around, they don't have 5, 7, 10 minutes in their mind. They do. And so I trick people and I say, well, if you can't get in for 5 minutes, go in for 2 minutes. A lot of people take advantage of that. Some don't. So I go down to 30 seconds. And that usually gets most of them. But sometimes I have to go down to 10 seconds or 5 seconds. And then when they get in, they stay for 5 or 10 minutes because they're at a crossroads in their life. They're in a position where, do I get out because I don't want to sweat? Or do I stay in because it feels so damn good? And that's what life is all about. And I've discovered a number of things in life. I've been around the sun I don't know if I've been around the sun, but the sun's been around me for a number of years. I still think I'm 20, 30, 40. I don't know what age I am. All I know is that I have always existed and I can't not exist. And I've had that experience. And a year and a half later, after having the out-of-body experience, where I was connected, I realized later with this water from once I drunk, I have never had to drink again. It's always been there. Very interesting phenomena, because I did not grow up believing any of this, but it was an experiential, and that's what being in the Relax Sauna is. It's experiential. I'm going to be talking about far infrared energy. I'm going to be talking about how the only purpose of far infrared energy, as talked about by Dr. Sherry Rogers in her book, Detoxify or Die. It's a classic that came out in 2001, and it spawned an industry. And what she said is that the far infrared energy, she was an environmental medical doctor, and people were left to dead by the medical establishment. Can you believe that? Left to dead by the medical establishment, and they came to her in the late 1990s, and she used a new technology called far infrared saunas, and she got almost all of them back to being very, very healthy individuals, and she wrote a book on it about Detoxify or Die. When you talk about detoxification, there's a book that came out in 1931, I believe, named by John Tilden, and he said, the cause of all disease is toxemia. Now, Hulda Clark and Hannah Kroger have come out in the last 10, 20, 30, 40 years, and it appears that there's a little bit more to it. Hulda Clark indicated that the cause for cancer was a pairing of a parasite, the liver fluke, and a toxin, isopropyl alcohol. And I have heard, and it's probably, there's a lot of truth to it, that there's all disease is caused by a pairing of a particular parasite with a particular toxin. That may or may not be true. It doesn't matter. The whole idea, it's not whether what I say is true or false, because anything I say is a half lie and a half truth. You know that when the signature of a belief is in the spelling, B-E-L-I-E-F. So there's a lie in every belief. I don't believe in belief, and there's actually, frankly, nothing I'm not willing to believe. And this is what I was doing way back in the early 70s. I was enjoying breaking up thought patterns, starting with myself, because every thought pattern is every belief I have, every desire is controlling me. It says, I think in the Bible, thou shalt have no graven images before me. And a concept is a graven image on the mental plane, and the concept of God that you have will actually interfere with your experiencing the divine within yourself. It is available to all of us. Everything, all the religions are saying they're all true, and I embrace them all. And again, it's not whether something is true or false, but it's how it is true. I can say one thing today, and if you say, wow, and it helps you become more free, that's great. 3 months later, I can say the exact opposite. And if you say, wow, it helps you break free and you're more free, that's what it's all about. It's all about frequency. Now, Pythagoras is one of my heroes, having been a sort of a child prodigy in mathematics. I finished second, third, and fourth in the state of Indiana on national statewide exams in high school and in college. And Pythagoras, but he was one of my heroes. In ancient Grecian times, he was known as the father of modern mathematics. He was also the one who's responsible for the promotion and propagation of the Pythagorean theorem, that a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And anyway, Pythagoras had a school, and he talked about the music of the spheres. That's inner music that you can listen to within yourself that vibrates. You can all connect with the inner music. That's how we go back home. It's like the Pied Piper, but it's the call from the divine calling us all back home, and it comes on a vibration of sound. And Pythagoras said, everything is number, and he said, everything vibrates. Everything vibrates. And that's what we're all about. We're about Tesla Tech. We're about frequency and vibration. I think Edison also talked about that. An eye doctor by the name of Jacob Lieberman also talks about light being the medicine of the future. So what the Relax Sauna and what my talk is all about is it's far infrared energy, and it's all about the invisible light that is in the spectrum that comes from the sun. The sun is a very, very magical creation. It exists, and it sends off vibrations or frequencies of every imaginable frequency that we can see or not see. Invisible light and inaudible sound. That's what life is all about, and it's the invisible world. One of my favorite songs demonstrates what life is all about. It's called "Row, Row, Row Your Boat." Have you ever heard of it? It's a good song. Children sing it in round robin when they're a kid, and that's the way the divine educates us about what life is about. Row, row, row your boat. They don't say to row Johnny's boat. They say row your own boat. And gently down the stream. Gentleness is very important because that's a key to life. It's an attitude. Merrily, merrily, merrily. If you're not happy, if you're not enjoying yourself, why the hell are you doing it? And of course, the punchline is life is but a dream. And it truly is. And I like to say that the melodrama in this world is very interesting, but the cast party is a hell of a lot more fun. I know that friends of mine in drama who were always talking about how great the cast parties were. So know that, and it's not a question of thinking and feeling, but it goes beyond that. I was a thinker after I had the out-of-body experience. Then next in line, and 18 months later, I met some yogi. He showed me some Kriya Yoga techniques, and that every single cell in my body was excited and vibrating. And at any rate, the next day when I tried to eat something, I could hardly eat anything. I couldn't eat heavy foods at all. I had to almost become a fruitarian, and I was meditating for 6 months or 9 months, but 6 hours every morning, meditating, doing yoga, and doing exercises, and doing whatever I was doing. And when I ate steak 3 days later, I felt like I was in a mental institution. They gave me Thorazine, and my mind wouldn't function. I had to meditate for 6, 7, 8 hours, and then I had ham 3 days later. So I learned to live on pretty much dates, figs, and cashews is about 80% of my diet. So that's a little bit of my history. Then I became, when I started normalizing and eating normal foods, and I was fasting all the time because I wanted to be connected to that divine energy. That was what life was all about, being connected, where I could feel it. Now, there's something greater than feeling, and it's knowing. So when I finally caved in and I walked outside, and I was at Ohio State University around 16th and High, ran into some friends. I felt like I felt terrible because I couldn't feel the presence of the divine, and someone said how great I looked. The reason I looked good, I was in my body instead of out of it. But at any rate, then I realized, and then that energy was there. It was there. So it's just the knowing that it's always there with you that's very, very important. So you see cellular rejuvenation with a far-infrared sauna. And I'm going to be now talking mainly about the Relax Sauna for the next 40 minutes or so, and then we'll have about 10 or 15 minutes for questions. I wanted to introduce myself and give you a little bit of my history. I was at one time very, very sensitive to frequencies. I had to slow that down a little bit, and sometimes I'm not able to connect right away consciously, but it's there. And it's the knowingness that is there that keeps me going. I was one of the original biohackers because I was learning to get into herbs and finding the right kind of herbs that would give me that creative wonderfulness that I experienced when I was solving math problems. Now I use that same energy. I thought for 10 years I had wasted my time doing math, but Pythagoras was a mathematician. He was also a spiritual master. They called him the son of Apollo back then in ancient Greece. He had a mystery school and many students. Bertrand Russell was a mathematician, and he was very active socially, and I learned to honor him. And Lewis Carroll, one of my heroes, he wrote the Adventures of Alice in Wonderland, and he also wrote Through the Looking Glass. I tell people, notice I'm wearing a hat. I like hats, and that's what Greg mentioned. It's almost, my ex-wife calls me Colonel Saunas, Colonel Saunas, named after Colonel Sanders. but one of my heroes is the Mad Hatter. And it should be obvious why he's one of my heroes, but it actually, the reason he's one of my heroes is he found a way to celebrate almost every day, and by celebrating his unbirthday. And I think that's his greatest contribution to the world, is that we can celebrate every day. And you can take that to another step and celebrate every hour. Then you can do the minutes, then you can do the seconds, and it makes life a lot more enjoyable. I don't do drudgery anymore. When I come down the stairs and I forgot something, I used to begrudgingly walk upstairs, but now I run upstairs and I turn into exercise mode. It's a switch. And if it's not exercise, drudgery can always be turned into fun. And so you create your own universe, and that's why we're called creatures, right? We're called creatures because we create. So I'm going to suggest to you today a way you can create a better future for yourself, and that's by basking in far infrared energy. And I'm going to explain the difference between far infrared energy and red light and near infrared light and all that. So let's see what the next slide says. Oh, there we go. 3 parts. I already said all this, so I'm not going to go into detail on this. This is, again, just an introduction to me, and give you a little bit more time to look at it, and then I'll move on to the next slide. And I've already talked about all this with putting out the slides, and so if you want, I'll give you another half a second to read it or to look at it. And those are 3 different pictures of me. The body is always transformed, but I'm the same me, and I always have been. I haven't changed a bit since age 8 when I started to become aware. I'm the same me. I've unfolded a lot. I have not changed. I am that I am. That's why Popeye the Sailor Man is another one of my heroes. And I also like Jiminy Cricket. I call him Saint Jiminy because he said something, when you wish upon a star, your dreams come true. So these are some of my heroes I'm talking about. Okay. From the sun comes ultraviolet light, X-rays, gamma rays, microwave, visible light like blue and red and all the other colors in between and on the outside of it. And then you have far infrared light and near infrared and mid infrared. Now what I call the loving light of the sun is 7 to 14 micron frequency of energy. Now, I was talking to someone yesterday. They were talking about terahertz, and I was asking, what's the difference between hertz and, because people ask me this question, I haven't figured it out yet, and far infrared energy. And now, you have probably heard of red light, and there are a lot of good red light machines out. Ari Whitten wrote a book on red light. He interviewed one of my people, and he sold 100 Relax Saunas. So there are many technologies in this world. Remember, frequency is what it's all about. So there's red light machines, there's near-infrared lasers, there's near-infrared light, there's PEMF, there's microcurrent technology, and there's hyperbaric oxygen chambers. You have ozone. Ozone is incredible. I've been promoting ozone since 1988. And I opened up a health food store in 1980. And now, when you go out into the sun on a hot day or even a cold day, and you close your eyes and you feel that deep, deep penetrating warmth of the sun inside your body to your core, that's what you experience when you get in the Relax Sauna. That's the far infrared light, not the near infrared, not the red light, not the blue. You don't see that when in the sun. It's pretty much invisible light is all we see. And I have a degree in mathematics. Astrologically, I have no Earth in my astrology chart. So there are probably 99% of you here understand electronics better than I do, and the vibration. But this is my challenge and my fun. And the best way to learn something is to have to teach it. I learned that in mathematics way, way back. Now, you probably wonder, I know you all been wondering this morning, how come when the chicken lays on the egg and the chicken egg hatches, we all know that, or they can go in an incubator, but how do the turtle eggs hatch? I mean, they're in the dark cold, and we know they need, the egg needs to be heated up for it for magic to happen. Well, it's the far infrared light from the sun goes through the sand 2 inches and vibrates with the water molecules in the turtle egg. And that causes the embryo to grow into a turtle. That's the magic. That's the question you've always been answering. You know, it's like that kind of thing, what comes first, the chicken or the egg? You know, well, you know, the answer is, again, not necessarily correct, but the whole idea is that they sort of came at the same time. You know, I sort of believe in the Big Bang theory, the cosmic